Yeah, as a rule of thumb, the men need to stay out of women's business. Shout out to Nene. But otherwise, this episode was really good. So let's get into Real Housewives of Dubai, Season 2, Episode 7. It's your captain for all things creative. And I thank all the people who are returning. We appreciate you. And if you're new, please be sure to like and subscribe and stay a while, because Dubai is finally hitting its stride this season, right? So first we get a little montage of the family. Lisa and her kids are making like planet jokes, talking about Uranus and laughing. Taleen and her family are making cookies with lots of sugar. I was like, ooh, diabetes when I saw them pouring, but hopefully, they will not, make the kids eat too many of them. Like you see Ayan getting ready for her Ayan Beauty launch for her siblings. And she says that her son will also walk in the show. And apparently he shot a Burberry campaign already. So I like how, she's helping her son get opportunities. And he did have a very unique look. So I wish him and her continued success. And then Ayan explains that her dress was flown in from Egypt. And when I tell you this dress was stunning, it really was, because not only was it just gorgeous from a fashion perspective, but from the business perspective, she said the colors of the dress had all the colors of her makeup palette, so it was really smart. So Taleen and the other ladies arrive, and I believe Stansbury and Brooks both wore red. I thought Stansbury's look was a little better because her hair had kind of like these deconstructed finger waves kind of. And then Ayan was having what sounded like a panic attack in the hall and praying it for all to work out while the ladies, were waiting for the show to start. So once the, show starts, it was kind of like a fashion show, but the models were wearing the Ayan Beauty lashes and makeup. And the makeup was everywhere, like in the venue, And like I said, her dress featured the Ayan Beauty color palette. So, like Stansbury, like the non-haters got it. But Taleen and some of the girls in the group were hating a little bit, especially Brooks. So Raffi tries to talk to Brooks and be cordial. But then him and Sergio separate from the woman this time. Then Ayan joins the ladies and shows off a bejeweled, bald-headed look, which was gorgeous again. Ayan had a great episode. And she basically, was trying to keep it positive, and cordial. She asked Sarah about her giraffe man, which is the guy that she's dating, And Sarah tells them that she's close to introducing the guy to her family. Then Brooks says that she heard Taleen's voice note, but she's not sure how others will receive it. And then Brooks also finally apologizes for her part in the spat, since she said that Taleen also acknowledged her part prior to this apology. So it seems like things are squashed, but they're really not, right? So the event ends and everyone congratulates Ayan on their confessional, except Brooks, who's really back in her Disney villain bag and basically saying that Ayan didn't do anything and she was giving credit to somebody else. And I just blocked out the name, since Brooks got on my nerves with that, just because she herself maybe doesn't let enough other people help her with her business. Don't diss or diminish Ayan for collaborating, because that's what a lot of business people do. So congrats to Ayan. So then the next scene, Brooks is talking about possibly not going to Stansbury's housewarming event. And she's sitting with Lisa, and I forget who, but then Lisa and whoever was there, I'm so sorry, I forgot, asked Brooks, what she apologized for to Taleen, because she had been insisting that she didn't know her and Taleen was the wrong one. And I think Ayan also is on Brooks' side in terms of Taleen switching sides so fast. So they're all, wondering, what did you apologize for? Because Brooks also don't ever apologize. And then Brooks said that she apologized to Taleen for calling her a beggar. And then Brooks basically breaks the fourth wall and said that Taleen kept constantly begging her to be taken to events with the Dubai ladies and basically begged her to be, introduced on TV, but she really means this show. So then Ayan sets up a picnic. Her family in the desert. And that was a really cute picnic. Had like a white umbrella and whatnot. And then we find out more of her backstory and how she stepped up for her family. And she also spoke more about the traumatic aspects of her FGM, including like the weeks it took to heal, how she was lying on the ground and no one checked on her. Very heartbreaking. But it ended with her and her siblings toasting to one another and saying how they're breaking the cycles of negativity and becoming loving parents and support systems for one another, which is beautiful to see. Then you see Lisa and her husband have a date night. And her husband is so sweet and tells her how good of a wife and mom she is. So she cries. And then he asks her to tell him what's tough for her. And he'll try to take some of the load off. And she just asks him to help with the kids a little bit more. And then he also offers her an emotional support Hermes bag. So shout out to them. I love that for her, and them two are adorable. So then you see Lisa and Ayan catching up, and Taleen and Stansbury joins them. And Ayan says she's going to make sure she doesn't laugh too hard to make Lisa jealous. And then Lisa praises Ayan's event and then announces that the ladies going to do their trip to Bali with the theme Eat, Pray, and Party. With Lisa in charge of the food, Sarah in charge of the prayer, and Brooks in charge of the partying. Ayan says she should be in charge of the party and says Brooks always be sleeping. But Taleen then brags about Brooks apologizing to her before Lisa destroys their temporary peace by telling Taleen how Brooks said that she really apologized for calling Taleen a beggar, and that how she also doubled down and saying that Taleen did beg her for a lot. And then Taleen was pissed. And shout out to Lisa for stirring that pot effortlessly because she was acting like she didn't know it would start drama. So then Stansbury's setting up for her housewarming event, and we see the girls getting ready. Stansbury then tells Sergio about her talk with Yasmin, and Sergio maintains that he's not trying to be her father, but he's just trying to love them all. And then Stansbury thanks him for making the effort with his kids, or both of their kids, I guess. And then she asks Sergio to go down and greet the girls. And then Brooks is on her Disney villain era again and enters Stansbury's new home with a burning sage stick, which I thought was very whack. And she also brought a +1 without telling Stansbury. And Stansbury was upset because she didn't even invite the friend of the show, Saba, since it's a seated dinner with the chef. So Stansbury takes the sage away from Brooks and tries to figure out seats. But luckily Lisa's husband couldn't come, so Brooks' friends takes his seat and it works out, but that could have been bad. So then Stansbury decides to make a speech, but Sergio also wants to make a speech, but she tells Sergio to pipe down and wait. And while she's speaking, Brooks and Ayan, I guess, their confessionals say that they can't really take Stansbury's speech too seriously, since apparently her friend Michael allegedly pays all Stansbury's bill and the maid's bills too. Then the boys ask one another what they will do while the girls are in Bali. And then the girls talk about Brooks setting up the parties and Sarah, doing the prayer. And then Stansbury's like, why would we pray? And then Sarah's like, listen, some of y'all need an exorcism. But she and Brooks are the ones like whispering and being most negative this whole time. So them two might need it. But then Brooks gets really mean to Taleen and keeps making bad comments about her. She's first making general statements that, when Sarah and Taleen are talking, she was just sensing somebody being fake. So she kept saying fake, 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 fake. And then when Taleen asks her directly what she means about fakeness, then Brooks tells her that she's not talking to Taleen. And then she whispers to Sarah about Taleen's face being ugly and her jaw being stiff. It was just super mean. So Stansbury's the host. She's trying to stay positive, but then Taleen basically comes over and snitches about everything Brooks was doing to Stansbury. And Taleen was calling Brooks a gaslighter and all these things. And again, Ayan sees Taleen just going off on Brooks, who brought her into the group. So Ayan in her confessional basically saying that she understands why Brooks is mad at Taleen, since Taleen switched up on Brooks so hard and so fast for Stansberry friendship, because right now she's literally complaining about Brooks instead of talking to Brooks about how she feels, even though Brooks is being rude and dismissive. It's like, why bother the host at her event when this is somebody that maybe you could work it out with if you and Brooks, had all this deep, genuine friendship. But Taleen and Brooks, I think, are both at fault. And Stansberry then tries to get everyone on the same page about the hurt and misunderstandings that are in the group because of Brooks and Taleen's situation. And then Lisa tells Sarah to come over and tries to force Taleen and Brooks to sit next to each other, but Brooks won't do it. Brooks just comes over and starts talking to Sarah more. So then Lisa just basically sees the tension and just explains about the beggar comment. And then Raffi's listening to the side, but then starts to pipe up at Lisa and tells her to watch what she is saying. And then Lisa kind of looks at him with the side eye, but then doubles down on the fact that she was just relaying what Brooks said. And that was the first point where Raffi got in women's business, and it was uncalled for because Lisa was just repeating what Brooks said, so he really had no business piping up at Lisa. But Lisa was being messy, but again, that's the purpose of the show, so Raffi needs to stay out of women's business there. Then Brooks and Taleen get to calling one another alcoholics and saying the other one needs to put down drinks, and I was like, pot, meet, kettle, because both of them, from since the first episode, I thought was looking like they both could use some sobriety. But Brooks does seem a little worse and a little more deep into the substance abuse and alcohol abuse, right? But Raffi then starts being nice, nasty with Brooks about her being the worst drunk out of the three of them, even though he admits that they all used to be getting sloppy drunk together. Brooks apparently can't keep her eyes open, and other girls said that this episode that she'd be like passing out a lot at events, right? So then this is the second time where Raffi enters women's business, but this time I could forgive it a little bit more because he was trying to calm down Taleen, who was like really upset. So he was standing up for Taleen and then kind of nice, nasty, smoothing things over with Brooks without letting her off the hook. It would have been better if, he let the women hash it out. But I think in this scenario, the way Sarah was saying it is that they could get arrested if things got too loud and they were shouting at one another. So I think Raffi here, he was okay to enter women's business because he could see Taleen getting really mad. And Brooks and Taleen, getting elevated, like calling each other drunk and whatnot, and starting this yelling match that ends the episode, right? So then Lisa gets her lick back from Raffi trying to check her before, and she basically tells him that what he's not going to do is talk at Brooks sideways. And I think she also meant herself because Raffi had talked to her a little sideways before. So then she came by Brooks' side and a little bit in Raffi's face to make him know that, if he was going to keep calling Brooks drunks and insert himself into women's business, that she would be in his face. So that stuff needs to stop. So then Stansberry's worried about her furniture getting messed up, and Sergio starts to pipe up too because he's getting upset about the party being ruined, and he's like, I don't like this, and I think he looked legit scared, so I think he was also thinking about the police coming too, because Sarah again said in her confessional that the police genuinely could have came in and arrested them for the way they were acting, right? So then Sergio insisted that he wanted them to stop. And Stansberry was yelling at Sergio to pipe down and sit down, because he was getting elevated. So Stansberry couldn't take it anymore and just kicks everybody out. And then Brooks continues to yell at Taleen in the streets. And this was dangerous. So I think if the camera crew wasn't there, they really might have gotten arrested because they were really yelling. And Brooks doubles down that Taleen is a beggar. And Brooks says she has all the messages of Taleen begging before Taleen spilled the tea. That allegedly Brooks borrowed clothes from her, to the extent that she said last year, her first season wardrobe was allegedly Taleen's clothes. And that's where the episode goes off once production gets them in separate cores. Now, apparently in Watch What Happens Live, a lot of people believe that Brooks really was wearing Taleen's clothes, which is shady. But also a lot of people on Taleen's side, and they're also on Taleen's husband's side. Like I said before, I feel like Taleen's husband was wrong the first time, especially when he was trying to check Lisa. But the second time, especially when they started yelling, calling each other alcoholics, and Taleen was upset and they could have got arrested, I understand him getting involved then. So I think both. I think he was wrong the first time, but not so wrong the second time he butted in. Now, in the preview, next week I think is going to be really good again, because I think what we're going to get is the root of Ayan and Lisa's falling out, since Ayan apparently says that an interesting voice note landed in her WhatsApp in front of all the ladies, instead of pulling Lisa to the side, because I think it's about Lisa. So then Lisa says at the table that she now can't trust Ayan over this voice note. So next week should be good. So unless Bravo's tricking us, the drama between Lisa and Ayan is probably about this voice note and the way Ayan brought it up in public instead of pulling Lisa to the side, because they usually have one-on-one conversations, So that's my guess. But say how you think things are going to shake down. Also say how you feel about the episode. Does Raffi and Sergio and them need to stay out of women's business? Are there other things that stood out to you? But no matter what, make sure you like and subscribe to help this channel grow. And remember, you are the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Bye.